Hi and welcome to the video. I'm Dame and this is Dame Over, and in today's Apex Legends video we are having a look at solo matchmaking. This is something that is notoriously difficult in Battle Royale games, so can it be done? How good or bad is it? Can I play with myself? I mean, on my own. Play on my own. Damn it. So if you find this video useful or entertaining, make sure you hit that like button, and if you're new around here, it'd be great if you could consider hitting that subscribe button too. As I'm sure we all know by now, Apex Legends has 20 teams of 3 in each game, so you're basically stuck with playing with 2 randoms. There probably will be more game modes coming, people are pushing for solos and duos, but at the moment you have to be in a team of 3, which means you have to matchmake with random players. And the main issue in Battle Royale games and solo matchmaking is communication. In Apex there is VoIP on as default. I can't find a way to not hear randoms when I'm matchmaking on my own, but the thing is, not everyone has a mic and they also aren't very willing to talk sometimes. Personally, I don't particularly enjoy chatting to people on Xbox I don't know, which is a very English way of saying I really don't want to do it, basically. It's a lot of effort, and quite frankly, I just want to get on and play the game. So you have a couple of options with what to do if that's the case. You can choose to head off on your own, but leaving teammates behind is not great. You're sort of leaving 2 other people in the lurch. They didn't join the lobby so they could play with a team of 2 and 1 random person running off on their own, so it feels a bit unfair. And also, fighting teams of 3 is very difficult. It's not impossible, absolutely not, but unless you're absolutely amazing at the game, then sticking with a team is always much better. So what is in place that helps you communicate? Well, all of these problems are solved mostly by the ping system, but there are a couple of great additions to the menus and what you see on your HUD as well. So let's start with the ping system, because I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I think it's setting the gold standard for what Battle Royale games should either have in the future or find a way to implement. There are so many different ways to tell your teammates about what's happening in the game around you. You can ping almost anything. So I've got a list here of the things that I've noticed you can ping. I might miss a few things off. So there is the map itself, there's the supply ship, ammo, weapons, armor, attachments, throwables, healables, doorways, zip lines, obviously enemies, supply bins, supply drops, death boxes. When you're looting a death box, you can ping items inside it. You can go into your inventory to ping and ask for ammo. Also from your inventory, you can ask for missing pieces of armor or attachments you might need. And I think you can also ping hot air balloons as well, but that probably counts as a zipline. Now, I'm sure I've missed a couple of things off that list, but it is a pretty long list anyway. And let's not forget the most important aspect of the ping system. It's telling your teammates where to go. So there's a huge variety of useful information you can give your teammates just by hitting one button. Context is very important with this kind of silent communication. So if someone, for example, pings the side of a building, I think it's natural to assume that they intend to go inside it and loot. And similarly, if someone pings a hot air balloon, then assume they intend to use it and want you to come along for the ride too. So my top tip to you guys, if you are solo matchmaking, make sure you're using the ping system wherever possible. I mean, don't just spam it because it ends up telling you that there are enemies all over the place. That gets very confusing. But if there's any information you think would be useful to your team, then hit the ping button. It's a really good habit to get into, even if you are playing with people in a party, and sort of eliminates the really confusing callouts where you're like, yeah, there's the cabin on the left. No, the one to the other left. No, you've got to turn 90 degrees to your left, and then ever so slightly if you look down, then that's where the guy is. Do you know what I mean? And then, you know, you're dead. So let's get rid of that. There are also some really useful audio and visual cues that are triggered by certain events as well that you should pay attention to. So I've noticed there are voice lines when someone is using their ultimate, when they're being shot at, and when they're healing up. All useful stuff to know. Make sure you're trying your best to keep track of what legend your teammates have selected and which color arrow on the minimap relates to them. The voice lines are in the voice of the character they've selected, so knowing who's who will help save valuable time if you're in the middle of a firefight. Which brings me nicely onto my next point. So if one of your teammates is engaged in a firefight and starts shooting, the little banner on the lower left-hand side of the screen will light up depending on who's shooting. Again, it lets you know what's going on very quickly so you can act accordingly. More information is better, as always. So these are really positive points, and all things that help you when you're solo matchmaking. I found it actually a relatively smooth experience. Obviously, being able to talk to someone is much easier than having to ping locations and then work out what you mean. There is the radial wheel you can call up if you hold down the ping button, but to be honest, I found it a bit useless considering the context of stuff was pretty clear. But if you want to be even more specific with your pings, then you have that option as well. One thing that's not on the ping system that I'd really like to be added is to ask someone to use their ultimate. Especially if you've got someone like Lifeline in your squad, it's a huge advantage being able to call in her supply drop as often as possible, but there was no way to encourage the players that I was playing with to actually do that. So like I said before, it is pretty positive. It's totally possible possible to do some solo matchmaking in Apex Legends, but it doesn't come without its difficulties. It's much easier to organize attacks and flanks if you're able to communicate with someone directly, but this is one of the only Battle Royale games that I've ever played that seems to work really well without the use of a microphone. It's always going to be better to communicate directly with your teammates, but if you can't get your squad together or you just fancy going in on your own, then it's definitely possible. When I had the idea for this video and started solo matchmaking, the very first game I played, I ended up winning. It was an absolute fluke, totally. But I think it's a good testament to show how powerful the ping system is and just how much information you get from the game without needing to actually physically speak. So to answer that question I asked at the beginning, does solo matchmaking work in Apex Legends? And I have to say, in my experience, absolutely yes. I'm sure some of you guys will disagree, or you might agree as well. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And here's a quick thank you to my Dame operatives, those of you guys supporting the channel through Patreon. You guys are awesome and help keep the channel running. So if you want to become a patron yourself, there'll be a link in the description and the pinned comment where you can support the channel if you'd like to, from as little as $1 a month. So if you had a good time, hit the like button. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button too. Don't forget the bell as well so you don't miss any future posts. As always, share this video wherever you like. Until next time, that's Dame over. Peace.